people just think we doing some real fun, like pow, nobody now. But I mean, we was really talking about some real extraordinary shit that lasts the test of time. You know what I mean? So, you know, with No Cigar, that's just what we do. You know what I mean? And people got to give us our flowers and our credit and our just due. You know what I'm saying? For being able to do that shit and being from the South, being from Atlanta, Georgia, because you had never heard that type of shit coming out of Atlanta, Georgia before.
Well, that's like you say on there, listen to me now, believe me later on. And Gip and I have talked about this, CeeLo and I have talked about this over the years. Like, we used to be afraid of people trying to stick a chip in us, and now people are running to do it to make it easier for themselves, you know? Mm-hmm. Which is wild. But speaking of talking with others, CeeLo, you had mentioned on Frontline the David Banner conversation you had, and that's one of my favorite parts of your verse on that song. So why did you drop that in there and then break it down as you did on Frontline?
I tell you why, because I wanted to give him a public show of appreciation and acknowledgement, because he's become such a vehicle, you know what I mean? Such an instrument, you know what I mean, like, of change. Because his perspective and his attitude and his entire being, you know what I'm saying, like, has been bettered by what, you know, he proclaims to be, you know, his starting point, which is us. You know what I mean? So, you know, in the world, you know, he has followers. I mean, he has a congregation. Like, you know, David Banner could probably go on to be a minister of some sort. I mean, like, who knows? I think that it's all ministry, essentially. But the reason why I wanted to put it out there like that, but first of all, because it's a real conversation. And secondly, because I just really wanted to show him the love, you know, because he calls me and loves on me like a son. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so often. And I remember, you know, I forgot what event was happening at that time, and we ended up talking. And when it's one of the brothers, and I know that we can speak, you know, in a certain confidence, you know, I got a little, you know, a little animated about whatever the matter at hand was, and you know, and I just told him as we were hanging up the phone, I just said, man, like, keep up the good work, young soldier. You know what I mean? Like, you know, whatever I said. I was like, but I'm on the front line with you. He said, no, you are not. No, you're not. He said, listen, you know what I mean? Like, you go up higher. You know what I mean? Like, where you are, you know what I mean? Like, there's more of me where I am than there are of you where you are. You know what I mean? Like, you stay and you ascend to those places, be fruitful and multiply in those places. Prepare a place for me when I come that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm at this point in my journey, you know what I mean, to where I've got to do the footwork. You know what I mean? You guys already put in that footwork to get to that place. So I know that if I remain diligent, I will ultimately, you know what I'm saying, be at that place, you know what I mean, like, in my respective time. You know what I mean? So, you know, this is, you know, so that's me, you know, eloquating it, you know what I'm saying, but I had to really paraphrase it for the verse. But yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I thought that was just so wonderful to say, you know what I mean? Because there was a part of me that felt like I needed to say that to him, because, you know, at the time I was having so much commercial success, and, you know, people even started to draw a wedge between myself and the mob. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that could never be severed. Not because of anything superficial or surface. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, as somebody being successful in another field, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so, you know, but I'm saying that to say that people felt like I put my cross down, and, you know, almost like I turned a blind eye to what's real. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm in La La Land, and I'm just, you know, spinning around and around. You know what I mean? Like, you know, in my own little bubble. And that's the furthest from the case. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And the furthest from the truth. And, you know, we're here to, you know, to embody and represent that undisputed truth that we're here. You know what I mean? Like, you feel me? And the saga continues. You know what I mean? And I'm just as committed as I've ever been. You know what I mean? But I was just having a different conversation in a different room at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, but now we back home, and it's back to business.
And one thing that Survival Kit does extremely well is show your guys' versatility, which you've shown throughout the years in many different ways. And Gip, I wanted to get from you on off-road, how did you guys decide to change up so dramatically, stylistically on that song?
It was a challenge. That was one of the records that challenged us. And it was dope because, you know, I remember once we started getting into recording the song, we had to really sit down and think. We had to really sit down and craft. So for me, that song was real important because it put my skills again to the test. So, okay, this is a certain type of record. It has a feel with a very southern tone, and it got my brother singing on it. You know what I mean? So I had to match what he did, and it seemed like soon as I dropped, Joe and T came in with even more extra character on it. That made the record. It made the record rise from when it started. The low, it went to me, it went to Joe, it went to T. It rose all the way to the end. So to be a part of that record, it's gonna be one of our greatest records, man. Off Road is crazy.
Yeah, that one really threw me off. Timo, what did you get from that?
Hey man, that off road, man, I love a challenge. I love a challenge, and you know, I forgot the dude that did the old time road. You know, that kind of like put me in that mindset. You know what I mean? Like a good opportunity for Goodie Mob to do a country rap. You know, we from the country. You know, I live out here in the country right now, way deep in the country on the off road. So I can really relate to that, man. I can really relate to riding on my motorcycle, my dirt bike, growing up riding, you know, dirt bikes and, you know, being in the woods and just being a straight country boy, catching salamanders, catching goddamn crayfish and eating them and fish and everything, man. Just 100% good old country, dirty South boy. You know, that's us. That's me. So it was very relatable, and I immediately have a great ear for greatness. And I definitely, as soon as I heard that record, I said, you know what, Lo? I said, boy, that's something. You know what I'm saying? That is something. I like that. I mean, as soon as I heard it, immediate connection. And you can visualize Goodie Mob on the off-road. It gives you a canvas to work with. You know what I mean? Just the title alone. And it was motivational, inspirational, and I enjoyed it. And can't wait to shoot the video one day.
There it is. Now, one of my favorite songs on Survival Kid is For My People. And Cujo, I want you to talk about the Live at the Omni reference because sadly, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of soul food still is relevant to today and all the rest of your guys' music. So why on For My People did you have that Omni reference to weave it in there like that?
Oh, man. Man, just to pay homage, you know what I'm saying? Just to pay homage to some greatness, man, that we was privileged, man, to be able to do, man. And we didn't even know that we was doing that, you know what I'm saying? So I can go back and bite my own shit, you know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to go back and try to, you know what I'm saying, and try to do that with somebody else, man. But like I said, 1 million niggas inside, where you gonna run, where you gonna hide from my people. Sometimes we act like beasts. I mean, it's a lot of us, you know what I mean? But like I said, we knew who we were. All of us as a whole knew who we were. You know what I'm saying? Come together. We could definitely make some things happen, man. So, yeah, that old 1 million niggas inside, yeah, 25th year anniversary of Soul Food. Yeah, I thought I'd pay homage to that, man. Sneak that in there.
Yeah, and CeeLo, that's one of my favorite verses from you on the album as well, on For My People. So with that one, you got super political and super, I would say, energized per se. So where, you know, what drew that out of you on that song, that energy and that venom per se?
You know, we just were all just trying to come to the table and contribute our best. You know what I mean? That verse was sometimes I jot down in my notes different lines. I have a few bars, and sometimes I have these full on streams of conscience. I mean, and I had that one. It was just untitled, but you know, I conveniently had written it from maybe just kind of like a plane ride or something, you know, once before, and sitting there, making myself useful. And I thought I made some good points. You know what I mean? I thought I made some relative points. Some things that are current and some things that will be timeless and applicable, for generations to come. And I mean, and that's the way that we have to immortalize ourselves in ideal. And like sometimes, you even forget the capacity of just entertaining, because that's kind of really what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? And to lend it, to even go back to what Timo was saying, it's like, but like it's just, I don't know, man. Like when it comes down to doing Goodie Mob, like we just. We gotta put it on the table. You know what I mean? It just becomes imperative. You know what I mean? And I just think that there's not even an unrealistic, but a realistic expectation, man. It's what we do. It's what the people deserve from us. It's what they, it's what they yearn for. It's what they need. It's what they ask and beg and plead for. You know what I mean? Like all of the time. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so dope for people to, need what they want and not always want what they need. You know what I'm saying? So, there's a space for us. We can serve a purpose right in that little void. You know what I mean? Like we can fill that void up, caulk that thing up real good. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And ain't no leaks. Everything's solid.
Yeah. And I think that ties nicely into another one of my favorites, which is the calm before the storm. So Did any of you guys, or was it more on the production side, or did that play off the Public Enemy #1? Because I got a little bit of that listening to that, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
we never heard that song before.
Who is Public Enemy? Yeah, man, the shit was good. It's a good album, man. Buy that shit, man. Fuck it. You ain't got nothing else to do. If you don't buy the album, then you ain't black. Joe Biden said the shit. I guess I can say it too. People, buy the Goodie Mob album Survival Kit November 13th. What do you got to lose? I mean, really, black people.
But you guys remember the Calm Before the Storm, how the Public Enemy reference ended up, who came up with that or why it ended up working?
Actually, I was trying to think of a hook first to say on it. And Ray was like, man, you got to come up with a hook. You got to come up with a hook. So he really challenged him up on this album. But I actually said, you've been warned. You know what I mean? So just kind of played off of that warned. So, you know what I'm saying? Just making reference, man, to the people that kind of inspired me, man, when I first got interested in hip hop, man, and just for organized noise, man, to make that track do so much thing doing everybody's verse. I mean, that was so fucking hard, man. You know what I'm saying? So big up to Ray Murray, aka Yoda, man, for cropping that goddamn masterpiece, man, cause that we've never did a song like that before.
Yeah. Nope.
Never.
Yeah, I think Calm Before the Storm, Amazing Grace, and For My People are probably my 3 favorites on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
Real heavy. Heavy.
That's amazing.
Balance. You know what I'm saying? Balance, man. Like a meal.
Yeah. So I guess we got to wrap up. So Gip, on the last side of things, Gip, for you, what makes Goodie Mob important right now?
What makes Goodie Mob important right now? Because the matrix down. You're going to get the truth. No industry is involved. This is an independent album.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for
just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Young TV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The history of gangster rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.